So our next speaker is Dr. Brian Baliwas, and I got to know Brian personally about 3 years ago. I met him at mid-winter meeting in Chicago. I was introduced by Paresh, and so I meet Brian, and I walk with him in the trade show. As I'm walking with him, everybody's like, "Oh, you're Brian. Oh, you're the San Francisco dental nerd," and I had no idea what they were talking about. But that was back in the day before I knew anything about Instagram or had an Instagram account. So Brian has grown his practice about 1,000 patients in 3 years just because of social media. He is a social media influencer. He does a lot of effort and puts a lot of energy into that. He went to dental school at UOP, graduated in 2014. He maintains a private practice in San Francisco. He is a member of multiple associations, graduated with honors, and he also is a part-time faculty at UOP. I just checked your followers now. You have 30,000 Instagram followers. So, Brian, pleasure.
Wow. Appreciate it. I am super excited to be speaking in front of everybody today. I'm honored to be here. You guys are an awesome group. And honestly, I'm just excited to share my journey about social media, how it's helped me grow and jumpstart a practice, and also how it's helped me, in my opinion, become a better clinician. And so, we can go here. Like Wael said, I graduated in 2014. I still call myself a recent graduate, and I think I can say that because I still look like the headshot that I submit. I also am on the AACD marketing committee. I help them with some marketing things, and I'm also, I have a few private clients who I help with social media and marketing strategy. So I practice in the 7-mile by 7-mile city called San Francisco. The San Francisco Dental Society reported that they have about 1,000 members and maybe another 400 that aren't. And so some people call this a little saturated. I know after graduation, when I said I wanted to work in San Francisco, I had a lot of people tell me, "You're crazy. That's the dumbest thing you can do." And I said, "You're absolutely right. It is dumb. So instead of one practice, why not have two there?" So the first one, I started from scratch within somebody else's renting space. It's in this building, 490 Post. There's about 65 dentists in this building. And recently, in April of 2019, my business partner Adam and I just purchased a practice in this building, 450 Sutter Street. This one has about 140 dentists in it. I give these statistics, but it doesn't really hit home until I show the directory. And so this first building, this is where, again, I started from scratch with 0 patients. This is the directory here. It's a lot of medical, dental. Again, I counted all the practices. It was really tough because there were some group practices, so I had to go on their websites and see how many doctors they had in their practice, because those doctors weren't individually listed on the website, or excuse me, on the directory. And we came up with about 65 or so. And if we walk outside to the right, you'll see Union Square. We'll make a left here. This is Powell Street, where the cable cars go up and down. Hang a right on Sutter. And half a block, you'll run into 450 Sutter Street, where we bought a practice. And if you look at this directory, same thing. It's a little competitive. And so I really had to differentiate myself. I didn't, coming out of school, I didn't have a lot of money for marketing. Websites cost a ton. The one thing that was free, social media. And so whenever I say I'm, on social media, people always focus on that number up there, 30,000 followers. I'm going to go and hope that if after this talk or after we speak after this, that you ignore that number, that you focus on the fact that I'm actually bringing in 2 to 3 patients a week who mention my social media or who find me through that, and that's what matters. I would gladly get rid of all those followers as long as I maintained the patients coming in through the door because of social media. So when you think social media, this is what everybody thinks. It has a bad stigma. It's pictures of food, selfies, baby pictures, which I enjoy. I mean, I don't have any kids, so I just live vicariously through everyone else. But this is how I see social media. Just like billboards capture the attention of the cars passing by, what has the attention of our society is that phone. Right now, I guarantee there's somebody in this room who has their phone in their hand, or you can reach easily for your phone. And my job is to try and get my practice, my work, my message on the devices that everybody's looking at day in and day out. This is a crazy statistic. Some people are really upset about this. They're worried that, when they go out to restaurants, nobody talks anymore. This is the way things are going, and my job is to utilize this as a positive. And there's a lot of positive that can be had if we ignore the stereotypes and really take hold of what social media can do for us. So the obvious stuff that you can post is your work. So this is, if you look at the average dental page, everybody posts their work. They post their anterior cases. It's really popular to post some amalgam replacements. But on top of this, you can also post a little bit of your personal life and a little bit of who you are as a clinician. CE courses you've taken, outings and different hobbies that you participate in, mission trips. There's all sorts of things you can do, and there's plenty of companies that'll help you do this. They tell you, hey, doc, we'll post for you. We'll get all this content out for you. But what people aren't talking about is how to be social on social media. It's called social media. And so you can take a picture like this. This was a lunch that we bought for the office staff for a birthday. We got it from 4505 Meats, which is a barbecue spot in San Francisco. And I posted it. I tagged the company and put a little cartoon there. And what did they do? They messaged me back and they gave me the little excited hands and said, thank you for kind of giving us a little shout out to your page. And I said, thank you. And what they did was they reposted my post. And so now you have them saying, hey, SF Dental Nerd ended the week on a meaty note. And why is that a big deal? Because my gesture of saying thank you to this company for cooking us lunch resulted in them thanking me. And if you look at their page, they've got 30,000 followers, all who reside in San Francisco because it's a San Francisco-based company. So now, for the cost of nothing, I've just put my page, my ad, my dental work in front of the eyes of 30,000 people. And again, this all comes from being social. It's not about what I posted or the latest selfie that I took. It's all about being social. Every morning, not every morning, it should be every morning, but close, I usually post a picture of me going to this gym. A lot of my friends think I'm just showing off that I go to a kind of bougie gym. But actually, what I'm doing is just trying to gain exposure. There are these things called exposure moments on social media that nobody really focuses on. And so when I check into the gym, and then I add a tag, and I tag that account, and then I add a hashtag, and then I call to action and get people involved with the post, what I'm really doing is getting this post, my page, my work, in the eyes of potential patients. And this is really how I built my practice. In 3 years, I was able to bring in over 1,000 patients just using social media alone. So what are we doing when we check in and do that? What I'm really doing is getting those billboards, but in a digital sense. I'm able to put my logo and my page in all these crazy places, when I eat at restaurants, when I use apps, and whenever I check in at any local businesses in my area. So what I'm doing is, again, instead of posting, because this is what gives social media a bad rap. Oh, you have a social media page? Well, how many followers do you have? What do you post about? It's not about that. That's selfish. It's all about you. It's you waiting for followers. It's you waiting for likes and comments. And really, who follows your page anyhow? Your family, all patients who are already part of your practice, your friends. So whenever you post, it's already seen by people who already support your practice. But when you interact on social media and you involve the local community and local businesses, and you're sitting there giving them compliments and likes, what you're doing is you're opening up a whole new world of potential. And this isn't what's being taught. What's being taught is the opposite. And so here, if you're able to give compliments and likes, you're hoping that exposure moments, the number of exposure moments you have increases, and your page is seen by new people. So I really want people to not focus on the vanity metrics. It really doesn't matter. Because what matters is this. They're the messages I get. Hi, Brian, I'm interested in getting my veneer or getting my smile redone with veneers. Do you offer this service? By the way, this person sent me an email, but decided to follow up through Instagram. Dr. Baliwas, I'm new to San Francisco. I need a new dentist, and I'm so late on my dental cleaning. Do you accept this insurance? All of a sudden, I've got these responses, and it's one, an opportunity for new patients to find me, and two, an opportunity, a new gateway for them to kind of reach out. On top of getting patients in the door, it's also improved my clinical skills. This is a patient who came to me who wanted do-it-yourself ortho, and they just wanted clearance because they actually read the waiver and said, oh, I got to see a dentist. They wanted a second opinion when I told them that they needed to do Invisalign with a trained dentist and also get maybe some veneers or some bonding. I told them about their bolt and tooth size discrepancy, all sorts of stuff, and they said they wanted a second opinion. And I said, you know what, I've got a page with a lot of followers who are dentists. Would you mind if I posted your case and see what people think? In came the comments, and some of them were really helpful. Ultimately, he needs a combination of ortho restorative and a do-it-yourself ortho system is no good. Dr. Paresh Shah comes in. This is not only a space appropriation, but a bolt and tooth size arch discrepancy. So now my patient's reading these. I'm going, are you reading these comments? I've also used it to educate people about insurance. The front desk is awesome at educating people about why we're fee-for-service, but sometimes being able to send a patient a cartoon that really expresses what's going on really hits home. Sometimes there's articles that talk about insurance that help kind of paint them in a light that maybe isn't in a positive manner, you know, like the CEO of Delta Dental making more than the CEO of Apple, and I share these with patients and they read them. And lastly, what's really important to me are the connections I've made through social media. Later you'll hear from Nate Lawson. Again, social media gets this stigma where it's not evidence-based and it's not, you know, it's just a bunch of misinformation. Well, you're right, it's just a vehicle for people to present. But what if these people who had evidence-based information shared it on social media? This isn't limited to high schoolers and people on TikTok doing dances. I mean, I really want to get great clinicians involved with social media who have great information to offer us younger dentists. Otherwise, this is the stuff that pops up, and this is the stuff that'll control us. I'm going to end this talk with a little story about Chef Massimo Bottura. He has a 3 Michelin star restaurant in Modena, and in May of 2012, an earthquake hit the Emilia-Romagna area of Italy. 2 earthquakes, devastated homes, leveled businesses, and these warehouses that are humidity controlled that holds the world's supply of Parmigiano Reggiano, the undisputed king of cheeses, ended up getting wrecked. So 360,000 wheels of Parmesan cheese destroyed, worth $200 million. So the consortium of Parmesan cheese, the people who control the quality of this cheese, reached out to Chef and said, Chef, you got to help us out. You got to come up with something. And so he brainstormed, and what he came up with was, he had this recipe called cacio e pepe, which is pasta and cheese and pepper. And what he did was, instead of the pecorino, he substituted Parmesan cheese in this recipe. And instead of pasta, he used rice. He made a risotto, because rice was another industry that was hit hard with this earthquake. And he made this recipe, and he said, you know, on October 27th of 2012, the world will eat Parmesan cheese. And he shared this recipe through social media channels, okay? He wanted everybody in the world to make this recipe and eat together on October 27th. So what happened? It went viral. He shared photos and whatnot of the earthquake, and people in New York, London, Tokyo, all over the world, everybody was making this risotto dish and eating together. And I thought that this was really cool. His quote here, all 360,000 wheels were sold. They were sold out. No one lost a job. No cheesemaker went out of business. And this is the key point here. That was a recipe as a social gesture. So whenever somebody wants to start a social media account, they always say, well, Brian, how do I do this? How do I get followers? And I always argue back and I say, you know, it's not about that. You really need to focus on what you're trying to do with your page. What is the social gesture that you're trying to exude? What are you going to contribute to the community on Instagram? Because really, everybody in this room has plenty to contribute. There's so much collective experience, dental knowledge in this room, and it's really important that this newer generation that has the attention within Instagram and social media platforms, that it's shared through there, so that way the social gestures that are shared throughout really kind of resonate and connect us all. So with that, I want to thank you. I appreciate you guys letting me speak up here. If you have any questions, come find me. I love talking about social media, and I'd love to help you set up your page. Thanks.